Halogen light bulbs. My name is Sabrina Duckett. Light is a form of energy that can be released by an atom. It's made up of many small particle packets that have energy and momentum but no mass. These particles, called light photons, are the most basic unit of light. Atoms release light photons when their electrons become excited. Electrons are negatively charged particles that move around in an atom's nucleus. An atom's electrons have different levels of energy depending on several factors, including their speed and distance from the nucleus. Electrons of different energy levels occupy different orbitals. Generally speaking, electrons with greater energy move in orbitals closer to the nucleus than when an atom gains or loses energy. The change is expressed by the movement of the electrons. When something passes energy onto an atom, an electron may be temporarily boosted to a higher orbital. The electron only holds this position for a tiny fraction of a second almost immediately and is drawn back toward the nucleus to its original orbital. As it returns to its original orbital, the electron releases extra energy in the form of a photon, in some cases a light photon. The wavelength of the emitted light, which is determined by the color, depends on how much energy is released, which depends on particular position of the electron. That means that different sorts of atoms will release different sorts of light photons. In other words, the color of the light is determined by what kind of atom is excited. This is the basic mechanism at work in nearly all light sources. The main difference between these light sources is the process of exciting the atoms. Regular light bulbs. Light bulbs have very simple structure. At the base have two metal contacts, which one is the nipple down here at the bottom and the other one is the metal that seems to encase it. These extend to the electrical circuit. The metal contacts are attached to two stiff wires, which are held up by a glass mount and goes right through to the filament. The filament then is encased in the glass bulb, which is filled with an inert gas such as argon. The bulb is hooked to a power supply, and the electrical current flows from one contact to the other through the wires and the filament and heats up the atoms to high energy level, and then travels back to its electrical source. The high energy level, around 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit, in the case of a light bulb, will emit a good deal of visible light. A normal light bulb is not very efficient. It only lasts about 750 to 1,000 hours in normal use. It's not very efficient because in the process of radiating light, it also radiates a huge amount of infrared heat. Far more heat than light. Since the purpose of the light bulb is to generate light, the heat is wasted energy. It doesn't last very long because the tetrogen in the filament evaporates and deposits on the glass. Eventually, a thin spot in the filament causes the filament to break and the light bulb burns out. Halogen lamps. This is a halogen lamp. It also uses a tungsten filament, but it is encased inside a smaller quartz envelope. As you can see, the wires go up through the filament down, completing the circuit. Because the envelope is so close to the filament, it would melt if it were made of glass. The glass inside the envelope is also different. It consists of a gas made from halogen group. These gases are have a very interesting property. They combine with the tungsten vapor here. If the temperature is high enough, the halogen gas will recombine with the tungsten atoms as they evaporate and redeposit them on the filament. This recycling process lets the filament last a lot longer. In addition, it is now possible to run the filament hotter, meaning you get more light per unit of energy. You still get a lot of heat though, and because the quartz envelope is so close to the filament, it is extremely hot compared to a normal light bulb. So in order to help this, they encase it in more glass. So it's a quartz encased in more glass. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.